This is the original use of high-density artifacts, chopping firewood and weeding to open the road. Are you going to be in the pond of the village chief's house? Make a dam to store water. Get a transformer or something. Build a large hydroelectric power station. Do you think this project can be voted for? First, clear the weeds on both sides of the river. Then the river bottom is dredged. Laying line pipes. Make this current change direction and go down. Ideas you can refer to: the practice of the reservoir spillway, the splashing from both sides, and this river. It's all going to be splashed with this cement. Don't tell me yet. There are actually quite a lot of Vietnamese talents. The more you understand this hydropower, the more you have to be able to make mud. Bricklayer. Judging by the water flowing out of the sweat tube, I think it's enough to lead a TV jealousy. Unless he is the only one in his village. And this power station thing, there must be the right time, the right place, and the right person. Is location. The difference between is up and down water and running water. Do you still have to report to the relevant departments? See if it will be approved. If it is not approved, it is considered illegal mining. Electricity is also a resource. Just start making. Wait a minute to lay bricks in. So here's the cement. A razor and a sharp knife, 2 buckets. Did the bricklayer build a house like this when he was a child? Bricks are built on mountains. There's a groove on both sides. Put it in. This way the structure is more stable. After all, I used to be a bricklayer for 3 months. But what about under normal circumstances? These bricks seem to be built by pulling wires. Otherwise it may be crooked. I don't know what the market price of the bricks on your site is. Anyway, my family built a house for 10 years. Coordinates Jiangxi. A dime and 3 cents fired from Loas. Light bricks will be more expensive. The brick in the middle is vertical. This is divided into 4 gates in total, and then to porcelain plates on top, as a platform. So the size of the dam, you can probably see the flow of his water. There will definitely not be a lot of electricity sent. Driving ATV is probably still a bit difficult. This kind of hydroelectric power station, can someone idealize the concept of surging? It's been suggested before, but this little hydroelectric plant, drive the water pump a few meters below. It pumps water up over and over again to generate electricity. Can you realize the energy hand basin? The density of this brick is still relatively high, because it was placed horizontally, not vertically. Then touch the cement for beautification. Closure port below, for the slower flow of this water. Elongate the positive line, so it's going to be longer here. Are you saying he doesn't understand optimization? He actually knew a lot about structure. Power stations to count power generation. In fact, it depends on the gap up and down. There's also amplitude and water volume. Just take a hammer. The Three Gorges power station seems to generate 1 kilowatt of electricity. The average is for 0.2 tons of water. Just this current. It's a bit difficult to send 2 kilowatts of electricity a day. Of course, it's just a video display. If you really have this leisure, why don't you go to a few classes to do charity for the village? How many months' electricity bills in Bao village? It's definitely no problem. This is still different from the traditional levee. It's made with a kind of trapezoidal structure. Great wall shaped. I guess it's a first flow valve above the lookout port. The water is full and overflows from above. Because if you want to generate electricity, your first-class design must be reasonable. It's going to stretch, but this slope is too steep, similar to internet celebrity Poe. Normally, it needs to be extended by 3 paragraphs. At least 3 of them are that long. First class and divergent design. Set the channel as follows. There are 4 in total. Then I'm a little curious. The red brick words are very similar to those at home. Why is there a brick on it? 3 branding. Is it on fire? When you still burn bricks, there's a special clip saw. The embankment of 1,000 miles bursts into the rain. This intensity is very important. But now come. Whether it's a reservoir or a dike, or a very large river embankment, it is more recommended to make an arch. Embedded on both sides can relieve a stress at the same time. So that's what they do. Start capping. It was installed here before the cap, and steel shelves. And their cement is like mud. I think it's too thin. Use this air knife to even out in one direction. The final words are laid out on a horizontal plane. Then place the knife and follow the knife to take a look again. See if there are any details optimized. Make it as square as possible. And here the dam movement is starting to take shape. There are 8 channels in total. Up for down for. Water in the dry season. In the rainy season, it can still be first class. After 2.5 minutes, after the cement is dried, you can take the film handle. There needs to be a power generation device after finishing, right? It's self-sufficient. From this material, it looks like a plastic sheet. PVC material. Handle-like shape. This is actually a turbine blade. Of course, this is not a turbo, but the principle is similar. It's just that the leaf fan is a little bigger. This is the turbine of the water pump. Fold it slightly into a 30-degree one. Then fix the point and draw the circle, making base plates. The base plate is used to fix this turbine blade. This is actually a bit of a joke. First of all, it's not strong enough, and the toughness is very large. You might wobble when you paddle through the water like this. It doesn't have the power to generate electricity. Power may be false, a little more sophisticated, like aviation fluid or car fluid. This blade is all forged. That is to say, 1. This kind of sticky plane is used for sticky cannons. 502 may not stick very well if it sticks, because 502 is relatively fake now. It's basically sticking a toy to a plastic. What sticks, what doesn't work. But sticky hands are the first, drilling in the center of the base. This hole should be connected to the shaft. It can only move if it has an axis. General axes are embedded. His shaft may be the reason for DIY. Not so accurate. So wait a minute. This screw may also be inside the pouring pump socket. Now start making the pump body of the water pump. Contrary to the ancient law of the eighth child, the difference is slightly different, rubbed out with yellow mud. There's a pipe horizontally in the upper left corner. Put a pipe vertically in the center. But I was wondering how he made it hollow. The video doesn't explain either. And then, you have to pinch a layer of gauze on the outside. Do you think this is cotton or fiberglass? I think solid cotton is more likely. FRP can be held by hand and will not be prickly. Solid cotton has a lot of fine fibers, thinner than a hair. I stepped on asbestos tiles as a child, or have played that. The pole of the medicine pot nozzle. You fold it, broken and floating in the air. Then it feels itchy on your skin from time to time. Also stinging. What if this thing gets into your lungs? The risk of moisture is tremendous. Solid cotton plus curing agent to achieve a demolding. Ah, it's so hollow. The pump wheel of the water pump. Spray a little black paint for rust prevention. It doesn't seem to need rust protection either. If you cover it, there's a bridge bearing inside. Connect by screw. A simple pump shell. Even if it is completed, the principle of hydroelectric power generation is the conversion of kinetic energy into electricity. So this way, to connect a power generation unit, the Three Gorges Dam, as far as I know, is also a turbine generator. This one has the same thing. It's just that this one is relatively small. And I heard that there were little devils who came to bid back then, but the words were rejected by us one by one. Say you want to use their protective pole. Several years later, I found that this vision is still relatively unique, because they fake the spirit. It's simpler. It's called a water pump. In fact, this is a professional term. Inside our Three Gorges Dam, call an axial flow generator. It converts water into electricity and transfer the telegraphic into the transformer. Finally, it is sent to the grid for power generation. Because of this axial turbofan, maybe the power is relatively small, then the current is relatively large. He's going through lateral throttling. Drive this turbine. There's an S-shaped sink on the side, and then you lay the cement on the bottom. Extend a drop of about 1 meter and go down. Water flows through a drop. They drive this axial flow turbine. Axial flow turbine, high-end. Its fan blades can be changed. Just like a machine, it can increase one lift. Turbo works the same way. You include some high-end models, gem decompression or performance car, cleansing with turbo, adaptive use according to different scenarios, turbine fast starting and fast response, because you will find that the average car, if you step on the turbine, you will have a sense of delay, maybe a faster second of force, slow down to 3 seconds, suddenly someone kicks you in the back to exert force. That feeling. The color scheme of the entire dam, 3 colors, cement red and 1 green, is the shell on the nest red, represents a performance, and then some artificial wells on top, got to railings. This thing is different from ordinary transformers. These 2 things are pipes anyway. Do you have any teachers and the audience come to popularize science? Yellow box. The child is the main switch. The water pump leaks, and there's a net. It should be to prevent impurities from invading. There's also a gate inside. The overall layout is quite considerate. And then we wired these LEDs. Maybe there's a diode in the light bulb. Use as an indicator light when working. Can it be used as a street lamp again? Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Start the acceptance work immediately. Here is the first box pipe laid to be blocked. The water in front will be blocked, and it will get higher and higher. Hitting a wall creates a backflow, because if you generate electricity, you need a certain amount of water storage. So this dam must be stumped. The water storage cannot be large or small. The top one happens to be a first-rate device. This controls a steady flow of water. Axial flow turbines. They're turning around here, too. And he had a red and white hat on it. This is equivalent to an indicator light, right? If he turns it, it means he is working. The current is actually still a bit small. Now the LED bulbs are not on. So I was wondering, domestic fast-charging mobile phone 120 watts. I don't know if it will run stably. Keep an eye out. This water is getting bigger and bigger now. The LED light is also slowly turning on. All aspects of color indicators are normal. Is the power light on normally? This instruction is generating electricity. The whole system is working. 2 kilowatts of electricity a day must be no problem, but not during the rainy season. As long as the water pressure comes up, his dam can't stop the water at all. This pump downstream will also be washed out, so it's more likely. Just take a video and pretend. Suitable for people with strong hands-on ability and some enthusiasts. Do you like to do some physics or the old driver audience in electricity? Play the premium version of Playhouse, but I want to play. You can even take a shower upstream, and it's usually stored. In my experience, there are a lot of fish in the deep. This is the perspective of each station. What do you think?